Greetings, everyone, and welcome back to Seven Raven, our Forbidden Lands live play here, a Streampunks production. I'm here with some fantastic people that are going on a very smoky, bloody, manticore adventure right now. We're going to get to that in a second, though. I'm going to go ahead and start things off pretty quick because we got a big game tonight. Why don't we jump right into announcements? And I'm going to start with you, B. What announcements do you have this evening?
Greetings, humans and others. For announcements for myself, if y'all are into Avatar: The Last Airbender, I'm running some Avatar Legends on Saving Throw show on Tuesday. As well as on the Thursday, I am going to be playing some classic D&D where I am a fairy rogue, which is really cute to me, but my whole deal is I am the Grim Reaper. Yeah.
That's fair.
Seems normal, right?
Rogue. Fairy rogues can be terrifyingly, wickedly good, especially with their mobility. Right? Anything that can do backstab and has flight is terrifying in D&D.
Beautiful
That's
combo.
pretty awesome. Very cool. All right. Cool. Let's see. Who else? I think the only other thing we have tonight is Sam. Do you have any announcements?
Yes. Power Play will return for Season 5 with both me and B, which, by the way, B. Hi.
Oh, hey. Yeah, hey, I guess, this is also my very first time on this channel.
Huh?
Do we do introductions, or do we just...
Yes, everybody, BeeZelda, if you would please welcome the BeeZelda. That would be lovely.
It is I, BeeZelda. My pronouns are they, them. And who knows what my character's pronouns will be. We'll discover that when we play.
Life is adventure.
And if you want to see more of them... Oh, sorry. Yes.
Nope. Finish.
If you want to see more of them, you can do so. Season 5 of Power Play starting January 30th, Sunday, here on Q Times at 5 p.m. Pacific. Please do that. It's a lot, and it's very good. And B is very good. And if you didn't know that, you need to know that. You're very good, Ox Crew. You deserve nice things. You deserve this.
Have a BeeZelda. It's like having a Haagen-Dazs. As a really tough day, have a BeeZelda.
Here for that comparison. That's beautiful.
So, Aliza, you do have an announcement, and then I'll do the other.
Yes. Oh, okay. Yes. I don't have any live plays coming up besides this one, but I am doing a sale on my coffee. Some of you may know I am a GM and DM for hire, and I do stuff on Sword and Scroll, and I have some stuff coming up in some other events, but I also just do commissions on my own on coffee, and I would like to sell a lot of commissions before the end of this month. So if you are interested, you can go to my coffee page. It's Aliza Pearl. Click on the commissions and you'll see everything. The code is JAN, JAN22 for a very big discount. If the discount doesn't just automatically pop up when you go to the website. So check it out. Book something with me. We'll have a good time.
All right. Anybody else? No. Yes, Kelly.
I forgot I have dice.
You have dice?
Yes, Die Hard Dice. I did a collaboration, and you can get
Kelly dice.
Enchanted Aria or Enchanted Cadenza dice, and they are green jade-ish looking.
Kelly,
what?
Before we went live, you said you didn't get any announcements.
I didn't.
That's an amazing announcement.
I did too.
That's a really cool announcement. Like, what the heck?
mean,
that is an awesome announcement.
How dare you forget how important you are?
And then I get to keep mine in this thing. It's really cool.
Is that a book or a carrying case?
It is a carrying case. And actually, I think you can still get the smaller version of this on Bard and Barbarian. This is a dice case.
I love those.
And it's the Bard College of the Opera crest.
Amazing.
You're gonna make Sam cry.
I feel like I have to say this, but the logo was designed as a collaboration with Arsqueef. I just love to say that name. So.
Yep.
And where is that holder from?
For years now.
This one was crap. Oh no. That one was a gift, but the one that you can get that's smaller is on Bard and Barbarian.
All right. Nice.
Awesome.
I'm sorry.
No, you did great. You did great. I'm glad we dodged the arrow of almost missing the fact that you have freaking dice. Like, I'm glad we didn't miss that.
I'm not good at promoting myself, okay?
I feel ya. I get yelled at by the community every damn time I stream because I'm terrible at it. So I totally, yeah. All right. Any other announcements?
Sorry, we were looping back, so I do still.
What? Yes, Sam, go ahead.
It's just that, like, we have Kelli and we have BeeZelda and we have. It's just. I'm excited.
That's the announcement. That's the best
That's
announcement.
it. All right. Let's go ahead and jump into chapter 2 of Seven Raven. Welcome back. Let's go ahead and jump right back into where we left off on the edge of this clearing. Right now, we find ourselves in Ravenland, just west of the city of Seven Raven, trying to track down a lost friend. Right now, we are in the midst of a chaotic scene. For those who are close enough, the smell of burning flesh, manticore hide, is filling the air, along with the demonic screams of this creature as it has been surprised by an onslaught of sorcery being hurled from within the woods. Following that up is Sylvain, who has come charging out of the tree line, wielding their sword, and Gordon. Gordon, you decided to flank this creature. You had kind of moved off a little bit to sort of the west side of this creature, as it were, and are now emerging from the tree line to what would be Sylvain's left.
Yeah, because I was kind of looking at its butt.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's whirled around. The thing is lit in flames right now. We're going to roll initiative for combat.
That works for me.
Let's begin right now.
Oh,
so,
no, it smells like
in Forbidden Lands,
here.
For everyone who is listening at home, Forbidden Lands typically uses a deck of cards for this, and it kind of turns initiative into a minigame. Indeed, in fact, combat can become a minigame for Forbidden Lands, as you can do things like feint or hold your actions, which causes you to switch your card to somebody else's card. But in remote play, and since we're not using any software per se, we're just rolling dice. So we're going to do it the old-fashioned way. So everyone, if you could please roll a d10 and tell me what you get.
Gordon got 6.
Okay, Gordon, 1 sec. I'm going to write this in. Gordon is on the 6. Oh, Jesus.
I don't think you rolled initiative.
Probably not. Probably getting high right now. Doesn't even see what's happening. Phaedry, what'd you roll?
I rolled a 3.
Oh, nice. Okay. Sylvain, what'd you get? 1. Sylvain is going first.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's fine then. I'm not sad anymore.
That's literally the order of initiative. Yeah, you want low on this. So yeah, 1 is the fastest, 10 is the slowest. So
You psyched out your dice because you didn't know, so they didn't know how to betray you.
Exactly.
Well done.
F you.
Sylvain, you burst from the tree line with your sword. Now you are wielding is it a two-handed sword, or you're wielding a long sword, correct?
It's a long sword, so I would I would be running with the sword down low.
Okay.
Because you don't want to be running like this, because then they know exactly what you're doing. So you're running with the sword low, and I'm going to try to, at least while it's surprised, the only way I can say this is stab it in the butt, because I know that's where the poison glands are. So.
Yeah, it does have that long tail. You can see that kind of club at the end with these wicked barbs jutting out. The thing itself is about the size of a human head. And Sylvain, that is actually one of the things that is propelling you forward, as kind of pushing you through that fear that instinctively everyone gets when coming across something that is incredibly large and dangerous. The closer you get to this thing, as you charging out into the clearing, as you are approaching, running up onto this thing, its size is really starting to occur to you. The manticore, as I said, is about 12 feet long and almost 6.5, 7 feet at the shoulder. It is large. And it is screaming in a bloody frenzy as its flesh burns. But you are upon this thing first. And as it's whirling around, you're going to get first strike. So.
Yes, and Sylvain is laughing.
Do you have the charging feat? Did you take that? The melee charge feat?
I have fancy footwork, but I don't have.
Okay, so here's what's going to happen. So this is, and just so everybody is watching at home, this is going to be, a lot of us, this is going to be our first time playing through combat in Forbidden Lands. So what's going to happen is, since combat began and the initiative rolled, you're having to use your action to get all the way up to this guy. Now, y'all were in short range, if I remember correctly. So it is going to take a fast action. So you are actually, if I remember correctly, you're going to have to make a move check to see if you can clear the distance.
Okay.
And get up to him so that you have an attack when you arrive at arm's length from this creature. Otherwise, you're using your entire round charging him. Yeah, that's
oh no, I just figured out I can click on the skill and it'll automatically populate the correct die for me.
Yes, isn't that satisfying?
So satisfying.
Yeah, it's pretty handy. So
all right, move check.
Yeah. So I'm gonna look at zones and range here. So okay, so zone features, cramped, all right, dark foggy, so short, okay, so short range, 25 meters away. You can use a run action, which is a fast action that moves you from one zone to the neighboring zone. So that would take you from short to near, or between near and arm's length distance. No roll is required to run unless you're moving from rough zone, which you're not. You don't have to worry about that. So, okay, so let's move from combat. You're gonna have to run. Okay, so he moves you. So from short range to. So what's going to happen is you're going to have to use, if you want to close the distance all the way, you're going to have to use both of your actions to get right up in front of this thing, which I would warn you is going to leave you without any further actions, and you would be within arm's length.
I would want to get close enough so that next turn I will be able to use one of my actions.
And that leaves you with an action open in case the manticore turns on you. You can dodge. You can get the hell out of this thing's way if it comes after you.
So I don't have to roll anything right now.
Not yet. You basically dash up out of the woods and come to a tactical stop just about a few feet away from this thing with the sword at the ready. That's going to be your action. The next action is actually the manticore, who rolled a 2 for the combat. Manticore, however, this is working out in your favor, Sylvain, because if you remember, this thing was lit on fire by the sorcerer. Having been cast at a rank 3 fireball, which it's a rank 3 spell. Fireball ignites whatever it touches into flames. That being said, this creature has to make a decision if it wants to put the fire out or if it wants to take an action and just take the point of damage to strength. It is going to use its action to try to put the fire out. This manticore is literally going to drop into the dust and start writhing and screaming to try to get the fire out. That's going to be his action. I have to roll a move action for the manticore, so let me see how that goes. It needs 1 success. And it got none. So it's going to take a single point of damage and remain on fire. As a fast action, he's going to get back up when he realizes he cannot put the fire out. So he is no longer prone. He just drops to the ground and just rolls around. You see this plume of dust. Phaedra, you can see the fire is just not extinguished. The mane on this thing is lit up like a candle. That's going to be his action for the round. Phaedra, you're next.
All right, I dropped to my knees after
The pain.
that magic redounded on me. So with one hand to my chest, I pick up some rocks in my hand and look up, see that Sylvain is too close to where there are still some singed grasses, so rather than throw another fireball, I will send these rocks levitating in my hand and then shoot toward the manticore. Rockstorm.
You're casting Rockstorm?
I am.
More sorcery.
Yes, I am not a smart man.
Okay. 1 second. Okay. Okay. Making note.
All right.
Cast your spells.
Because I have my grimoire, this I get an additional die on it, and the attendant half-elven die. So I'm rolling 4.
All right. How much willpower did you spend for the mishap table?
I'm just casting. I'm just casting this at the standard 2. I'm trying to conserve my sorcery.
You've powered it up though, because of obviously you have your grimoire, which is this book you're holding in your hand of magic. In your casting it, you've got your half-elven ability, but specifically you spent 2 points of willpower. Is that correct, or just 1 to activate it?
Yeah, just 2 points.
Okay, so 2 points. So
I'm down to 3 willpower.
Okay, so you're rolling 2 dice to see if you get any banes.
And I did not.
And you did not. So there's no magical mishap. You successfully summoned forth the magic. How much damage is that manticore going to take?
So I believe it's 3 damage because grimoire should up at a level.
Per power level. So manipulating the earth, you hurl stones and rocks at an enemy in combat. The damage from your total attack is equal to the power level, and armor works normally. Okay.
Yes, so unfortunately, armor works normally, but
yeah. So I'm sorry. How much? What was the power level?
So that'll be it totaled out at 3.
3 points. All right. I'm rolling armor. I rolled 0 successes and a bane. It is going to take all that damage. 1, 2, 3. On top of the flames, you all can hear the whistling, sharp cracking sounds of rocks being hurled at incredible speeds out of calmly holding your hand in front of you, Phaedra. They just go, you just high-pitched whistling noise, almost like arrows are crashing through the wind of the woods. They slam into the sides of the manticore. And for those who are close enough to see, specifically you, Sylvain, you can see little bloody holes where rocks entered the hide, going right through the armor of the manticore, once again adding to the agony of the creature. That was a hell of a round. All right, so that's going to be Phaedra. Next up is actually Gordon.
All right.
Gordon, just so you know, you were in a similar situation as Phaedra. You were in short range.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to get up an arm's length, you can do that. But unless you have the feat that allows you to charge an attack, you're going to have to either do a tactical hold. You do?
No. Mm-hmm.
No.
I have melee charge.
Oh, you do? Oh, then yeah. You're going to get up there and make with the stabby.
Mm-hmm. That's the plan. Yeah, I want to get up there and make with the stabby.
Okay.
And then also, can't I move after that and just like go into a dodge right after?
You always get a fast action.
Okay.
Yeah, but dodging, if I remember correctly, let me just double check here. But if you're going to try to throw a dodge, let's see, taunt, no. Parrying point and blunt heavy. strength, agility. Wait, where are we here? No, this weapon features. Sorry, just give me a second as I'm learning how to use my new game master screen here. Taunt, getting up, disarm. Here we go.
Oh, excuse me.
Break free grapple. What the F? Where the fuck is dodge? You were just like, let's put run, feint, get up, ready, weapon, crawl, flee, and cast spells on the screen. But let's not put dodge on there. Let's let them just guess about that one.
Those all sound like slow actions, and dodge is a fast action, so it might be listed separately that way.
That's what I'm trying to figure out. I just wanted confirmation that dodge is a fast action.
Yes.
It is.
And not a
Unless
slow
you have
action.
fast footwork.
Okay, great. So dodge is inherently a fast action, correct? That's what we were just...
Yes.
Okay.
Sounds like, yeah.
Cool. All right, so then, just to clarify then, so you were doing the melee charge.
Yes.
Okay.
So
melee charge says when you move from near to arm's length range, you can... Okay, so here's the catch. You're at short range. So it's rank 1 melee charge says when you move from near to arm's length, you can attack in the same action.
Oh, short range is before near, and then it's arm's length.
Yeah. So the way the ranges go is distant, long, short, near, arm's length. So right now y'all were at short range.
Sorry, I thought we were at near. I kind of thought they were the same thing. Got it.
So so just like Kelly, you can move to near range this turn.
So
And then
when I move from near to arm's length, so I need to just move closer.
Oh, no, actually, I'm sorry. I just realized with that talent, you could use your second action to move again, which would allow you to initiate melee charge, which lets you attack for free. You wouldn't have to worry about the action economy at all. So
All right,
yes.
so it'll be
you
move and then
move-
move and attack.
Correct. You can move to near range, and then the melee charge lets you move from near to arm's length and get an attack.
Right, but then
However,
I won't be able to dodge after, which is
That's
what I was
correct.
asking.
You'll be completely out of actions, but you will be slashing at this thing right now.
You know what? Gordon can take it. Let's go.
Nice. Get on up there, Miss Stalker.
Yeah. All right. So, okay, what do I roll?
Okay, so are you using the character sheets, the digital character sheets?
Yes.
Online? Okay, so that should as was said, that should populate it for you. So you should be able to just click your weapon.
Oh, okay. Two-handed
sh-
sword. Oh, well, I mean, no. That didn't. No,
Your gear?
that didn't do it.
So it should just allow you to click your gear and be able to activate. Does it not?
No, because when I click the two-handed sword, it just goes to edit and it gives me the stats for me to edit. It doesn't give me a die or anything.
Okay.
It tells me I get a 2 die bonus.
When you go to the dice screen, you can choose on the upper left, use two-handed sword as part of your roll. So then it'll calculate that in there.
All right, hold on. Let me get this thing open that way. I have it open a different way than that, but okay.
Gotcha.
I still don't see that, but that's okay. I can just put it all in the dice roller. So I'm adding 2 die for my sword, and that's under resources, right?
Yeah,
it's a black.
Yeah. So you're going to. So what is? Okay, so that's fine. This is actually an opportunity to walk you through the dice again. So what is your strength?
My strength is 5.
So that's going to give you 5 white dice. And your skill is your red dice.
Right, melee, yeah. So 2, and then 2 black die for the sword.
Your great sword gives you a +2 bonus, I believe, a geared bonus. So that would be +2 black dice.
And then we have our Dragon Slayer.
Correct.
Do we put that +1 in black?
In skills.
Oh, in skills. Okay, so that's red.
Yeah.
Okay.
And go ahead and throw your roll. Now, real quick, before you roll, though,
I have to ask you. But that's okay. I won't look.
I have to ask you, do you have any talents that also enhance your ability to use swords? Keep that in mind, too. Do you have anything like that?
I mean, I have Defender and Path of the Blade.
Path of the Blade would give you an additional plus. Oh, no, wait. Path of the Blade lets you spend a point of willpower to ignore armor.
That's okay. I've already rolled. I will remember that for next time, though. But Defender might be coming in handy next round because I'm
keeping it in mind.
thing. Yeah.
Sure. All right. So what'd you get?
Okay, so I got 2 successes.
So that's going to land a hit. Let's see. So how much damage does your greatsword do?
3.
3. So you got 2 successes, which means a net success of 1, meaning a total of 4 damage. With a sword, I'm going to roll armor. This is going to be a short fight. I rolled 0 successes on the armor. The manticore basically gets a great sword goes stabbing through the back hide of this flaming manticore as the lot of you continue to assault it. And from spellcraft to blades, this thing is being butchered in front of all of you. The demon swings around and screams in fury at all of you. You can see the girth of this thing just causes this wave of dirt to get kicked up around it, causing this sort of beige tanned fog to sort of cover this entire opening. As this is happening, Jakob, you are currently lying in a really smelly pit of bones, and you are jolted awake at the stink of burning manticore and the familiar shouts of voices you once have heard many a time in the training yard at the perch, echoing just above you. Outside, you can see a shaft of light coming from the top of the cave entrance. You can hear chaos outside, utter chaos. Your hands are bound, but when you look down, you realize you've got enough leeway on your feet. You could probably get up to the top of that cave entrance and start getting yourself out of these bindings.
Absolutely. I would love to do that as quick as possible. So to kind of like set this disgusting scene, the pile of bones, I like to imagine some have been like picked clean and there's like those beautiful like pristine white bones, but some still have meat on them. It's all really gross. This ground has not been brushed in ages. It's just this horrible combination of dead skin cells and dead furs that I found myself in. And oh, a bit of echo. Jakob, why am I echoing?
Oh, I don't know.
Eric, I'm seeing something new on that.
Is it the map?
I'm not seeing anything on my side.
Testing. It has stopped now.
Oh, okay.
Weird.
Post echo.
Just a heads up that the page is no longer. Oh no, that doesn't matter. Okay, so Jakob, tiny little bluish goblin with like a cascade of braids, a spike necklace, is kind of curled up in the mess of decay that is around them. They start to stand up, and they're pretty short. They've got like the peach fuzz of what will obviously be a very impressive mustache coming through. And they're gonna kind of look around like, oh no, there is my loot. I can't. Okay, it's fine. Okay, let's do this. And I'm gonna run up to where the sound of my hopeful allies are.
Okay. You emerge from the entrance of the cave. Go ahead and describe yourself and what is seen stepping out of this dark cave in the Manticore's lair.
Dressed in like a really, really fine vest, and then like just the most garbage looking undershirt. It's a little moth-eaten, it's stained, but the vest itself is gorgeous. There's like silver embroidery all the way through it. They have a little backpack strapped to their back made of an unknown leather, but very well crafted in the sense that it looks like it's very patchy. A lot of different skins have been used to make the backpack. And inside of that pack, you can see just the tail end of a lute.
Okay.
And that's Jakob.
Oh boy. All right, Jakob.
What do I do? How do I take these off?
We're gonna say about the time you get up there, you've kind of pulled your hands free of them. What you can tell is like whatever that was used to bind you in the past couple of days has really not, with all the pulling and tugging you've done at them, really is not measuring up to keeping you completely bound at this point. It's easy to slip your hands right out of those things. Though you can see like the wear marks on your wrists where you've been tugging at them for a while. But when you emerge from the top, I'm going to have you roll a d10 to find out when you're going in the combat round.
Okay. Jakob doesn't know whether it's because they've worked really hard to like work away at those bindings or because they haven't eaten in what feels like 100 years. He thinks it's a bit of both. I got a 5.
A 5. Okay, you're gonna go on a 5. Excellent. All right, one moment. Oh boy, this is where it gets interesting. All right, so I'm gonna roll on a table real quick. This is where it gets interesting.
It's not scary at all.
Not
I don't
scary
like
at all.
Sam's look on their face.
I don't like the way he rolls on tables.
Yeah, never a
that's
good sign.
fair. That's fair. No, that's fair.
No, the last time you rolled on a table, I didn't like you very much.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
Oh, good. I can keep that in mind.
Okay.
Heck.
Oops. 4 dice. That doesn't count. Let's roll this one.
I don't roll on a table unless it's a very good party.
Okay. Okay. The dice have spoken. Jakob, you come charging out. We are going to start the next round of combat. That's going to take us right to Sylvain.
Okay.
I'm assuming I would see this small goblin come charging out.
Yep.
So as
Jakob
I
has emerged. Just as a quick reminder, Jakob was not supposed to be here. You've been tracking down Marek. Marek is the one that you were supposed to be finding here. The last you heard, Jakob was on some other assignment. And Tylos didn't tell you where Jakob was, just that Jakob was off doing something. So far as you know, Jakob was not in danger or anywhere near the area. So seeing Jakob emerge from the cave is a bit of a jarring thing to spot.
He looks rough.
so Sylvain will begin the movement to go into stab.
Okay.
And as she's moving forward, she goes, the hell, Jakob? Like,
Oh, bonjour.
Later. And then I will stab.
Go ahead and make your
Stab
roll.
right in the butt. Okay. So in that case, let's just talk me through this roll.
Sure. So
A little bit.
as always, white dice are ability, red dice are skill, black dice are gear.
Okay, so the ability I'm using is might.
No, it's melee.
Oh, I'm sorry. Melee.
Mhm.
Oh, melee, it says I can't use my sword, though. That's weird.
That is weird. Yeah, it's strength plus melee plus your gear bonus, which should be, I believe, the longsword
It's
is
a 2.
2. Yeah.
It's a 2. And do I get any extra dice because I have the Path of the Blade?
Yes, Path of the Blade doesn't give you extra dice. It allows you to spend a willpower point to completely ignore the armor of the manticore. Go right through his hide.
That seems like a good idea. Because I'm going straight for the poison butt.
Oh, okay. So if you're attacking the tail, that changes things a little bit because that's a hard target to hit. It is a waving target that is out there just kind of like whipping around. So if you're going to attack the tail, you can do it, but it's going to be at -2 dice. Or I'm sorry, -3 dice.
I thought the glands were like at the base of the tail, like towards his butt.
No, they're literally in the bulbous part of
It's
where
a
the claws
scorpion.
are sticking out.
Oh,
Right.
right.
Yeah.
Okay, so -2 dice. So I'll just take my.
I'm sorry,
my-
it's a -3. It's -3 dice to hit that.
It's not what you said the first time. Okay, so I will take off 3 dice out of the pool that I had, I guess.
And those, when you subtract dice, they always come out of your skill dice first.
Oh, okay, and then gear.
Then
no,
gear,
after-
and then what's up?
Sorry.
What's up?
There are negative dice. You roll after you run out of skill dice. As I recall, you start rolling the negative dice rather than subtracting the gear.
Correct.
Which means that you have a bad die, and if the bad dice roll a 6, then they cancel out a success. If they don't roll anything, then they're just mean-spirited but not actively malevolent dice.
Well, the good news is I didn't run out of skill dice.
Yeah, I didn't think so. You were kind of a melee hound.
Wow.
Mm,
Holy wow.
What is your melee score?
My melee score is 3, but my strength is 5.
Oh, okay. So you hit 0 dice in skill, but you're still fine because you don't go into the next.
And then I get
Yeah.
2 more from Miss Ward.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
here we
So 7
go.
dice total without.
That would
All right.
be 2 successes.
You are going to hit it. You are going to
And ignore all
impact
the
that tail with your longsword. In an incredible feat of swordsmanship, you just get up there as this thing is whipping around and screaming and roaring, that tail just whipping about. As this manticore turns on you, Sylvain, there's a brief moment where you begin to see that wild survivalist, almost like madness in its eyes, like it's giving up at this point on trying to put the fire out and is going into full murder mode. There's a brief second where this thing is a horrifying visage to behold. Its face is on fire. Its mane is lit up. It is a burning manticore that wants to murder all of you. The tail comes arching up, and as it slashes out, it aims to send all of the barbs sailing in every direction, giving an area attack to every one of you. However, your longsword is waiting for it. How much damage?
So I got the 2 successes. And
so longsword does 2 damage plus the 1 net success, so that's 3 damage to this thing.
3
I'm gonna roll
damage.
armor.
Longsword does 3 damage.
Oh, I have longsword says damage too. Greatsword does 2.
Greatsword does 3 damage. Longsword does 2.
I thought we had the same kind of sword.
No, we don't. I have one-handed.
All right.
Oh man, he's doing a lot of the work for me, the manticore, because he's got the momentum coming down with the tail.
3 rolls in a row for armor checks. I've rolled 0 successes and 1 bane.
No complaints here.
The impact of the blade, had the manticore survived the vicious slice that you just gave it, certainly the venom sacs within that tail would have probably killed it. However, the severance of the tail, the gushing of the blood that follows, and the burning of the manticore itself, this creature doesn't even get a chance to attack. It roars as it whips around, and as it turns to face you, it doesn't even seem to be aware that its tail has been completely severed as it whips around, spewing blackened, ichorish blood all at your feet, Jakob, as this thing kind of gushes the blood behind it. As it faces you full on, Sylvain, it looks like it wants to charge, and as it lunges forward, its eyes roll into the back of the head, and the burning corpse falls to your feet with a heavy thud. Just dust as it crackles and burns in front of you.
Yeah, and she does not back away from it because she knows what it looks like. There's a lot of blood coming out of that thing. So she's got, when it turns around and looks at her, you know, she's got arterial blood all across her face. And then she's got her longsword, you know, still in her right hand, and she sees it coming to charge, and she just goes, and then boom.
Let it go to sleep. Yeah, you see this blackened demon blood just kind of dripping off of Sylvain's cheek. And now the only sounds you can hear are the heavy panting of both Gordon and Sylvain and the crackling of fire engulfing the body of this dead demon.
Jakob is doing, a bit of a dance to try and get like some of the gross poison stuff off of his boots. So you hear like the little tippy taps of like the little goblin feet on the ground.
Sylvain will look at Jakob, point at Jakob. We're going to talk about this.
Thank you.
And walk towards to check on Thaydri. Because Thaydri is not in view right now for me. Because you cast from the woods, right?
I cast from fairly far away. Yes, it's the best way to not end up. Well, we can get you clean later.
Well, no, I mean, before you even get a chance to say that, I have, of course, in my loving care for my friend, made sure to touch you with so much blood.
There's a moment of disgust, but I have to have a vial or something. This is a useful sample, ultimately.
You have basically, funny thing is the body of the manticore is on fire, but those venom sacs completely intact along with those barbs.
Come here, give me that hair. I'm going to bring it out.
My
My loving friend.
Jakob is here.
Oh, hey.
Thaydri, Jakob is here.
This is
Eric?
Jakob.
Yeah, it's
what? They're walking back out of the woods. It's I imagine Thaydri is like hopping along, like wringing out my hair as we're walking.
I mean, it's a long braid, isn't it? I can get the tip of it just fine.
Yeah, it's just like ratty long. Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of things. It is. What are you doing here, Gordon? Are you all right?
Oh, I'm fine. Yeah.
Gordon, that looked so badass.
Thanks. I sheath my greatsword and probably have like a mix of blood and venom all over my kilt and boots and just a little bit on my fur. Although hopefully not the venom on my fur.
I think he said the venom sacs were intact, so they did not.
It didn't even
None of them exploded?
Didn't even get a chance to attack y'all with any of its poison attacks. It didn't get a chance to do a damn thing.
Good.
We're so sorry, Eric.
Oh,
No,
that's
we're
okay.
not.
We have another 2 hours.
Oh no.
Yeah.
We can't. We mustn't taunt him. He might roll on a table.
Yeah.
Gordon, while kind of like wiping the blood off, looks at you, Jakob. So, mate, what are you doing here?
Oh, bonjour. I have been trapped here for like 3 days. It has been terrible. I am so hungry. Do you have like snacks? I'm looking at the manticore and it's looking quite tasty. But
Yes,
also,
indeed.
go ahead.
Let me just go ahead and tell you what to mark. Mark on your character sheet. You are hungry and thirsty. So I'm not gonna ding you points to your strength or your agility. Technically, when you are hungry, you cannot recover your strength in any way. You suffer a point of damage per week until you eat something. Thirsty is even worse, though. Thirsty is you cannot recover any match attributes at all except through magic. And if you're broken, like if you reach 0 at anything, you keel over and you cannot get back up until you have water. You also take 1 point of damage to strength and agility every day until you get something to drink. In this case, we're just marking it. I'm not going to throw all these negative condition modifiers at you, but we're going to say narratively, Jakob, you were very hungry and thirsty. It's
Sylvain had found the extra rations in that pack last, so I toss Jakob 1 die worth of food and 1 die worth of water.
okay. So you have D6 water and D6 food.
Oh, merci. This is so good. It looks
Go ahead.
disgusting, but
It is disgusting.
Roll those 2 D6s real quick. Roll 1 for water first and 1 for food, or whichever one you want to roll first.
I don't know how long it was sitting out there.
So roll for food first and tell me what you get.
For food, I got a 2.
Okay, so you eat all of the food. You just immediately scarf it down. You no longer have the hungry condition, but Jakob finishes the rations right in front of you, just tears them down. Go ahead and roll a D6 for water. Do we use D4s for these? Let's see.
I got a 4.
You got a 4. So you have some water, but you do not finish off the ration. You get to keep the rest of the water. You don't have to worry about it.
Okay.
Yeah. But food is gone. But the good news is you no longer suffer from either one of those conditions.
Wow.
You're feeling so much better.
Thank you. That was very disgusting, but I am so grateful. I was trapped in a pit for what feels like 10 days. That manticore was threatening me. I would probably have died to that poison. But you saved my life. Thank you.
You fell in a pit? How'd you get in a pit?
You just walk sometimes and then you fall into a pit, and sometimes you are looking for your allies, and those allies threaten you with manticores, and you just fall into a pit, not because you're afraid of the manticore, but because the manticore is terrifying. That made sense?
Checks out.
Yeah.
Checks out.
Good. Has anybody seen what was our ally's name? Was it Merrick?
Marek.
Merrick.
M-A-R-I-K, Marek.
Has anybody seen Merrick?
Well,
No.
I've smelled him.
Oh, good. Good. When you say smell, is that like you smell his evil, or you smell his
Evil. I smell his scent.
Is it like the smell of goodness, like he has changed his heart?
Oh, I can't detect that from a scent, but What are you on about? Is Merrick done something bad to you?
Well, I thought he and I were friends, but that was his manticore, like his pet.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. I mean, so okay. I saw Merrick kneeling in front of a hooded figure, and the hooded figure had a manticore next to them. So either Merrick is turning evil or has been evil for a long time.
That would explain the really bad puns.
The sign that somebody is evil is their bad puns.
Agreed.
So could I potentially join your group? I was supposed to capture Merrick and provide information to Talis, but well, the pits and the manticore was kind of a whole thing.
So, back up. When you say that Tyler sent you to capture Merrick,
It follow, sneak, kind of stay in the shadows and watch.
are you saying that Tylus maybe had an idea that Merrick wasn't above board anymore?
The feelings like Gordon gets when they smell something. Yes.
I say something untoward in Elven.
Yes.
So Tyler sent us out to look for Merrick, but didn't tell us all this other stuff. What we think about that? I asked to the other two. What's that about? Why the secrets?
Either he trusts us a lot, or doesn't trust us at all.
Well, I'm the trusted one.
You're not helping. Oh, okay.
Sounds like we're going to have a chat with both Merrick and Tylus when we get back.
Make an insight check on Tylus.
Oh.
Yes, you may.
You can when you're this far away?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
It's literally
not in
just,
the room?
it's literally just, it's
What I know of the man is this. He thought Jakob was like, you know, maybe a reconnaissance, but like a long shot kind of thing.
Well,
Didn't
small.
want to worry us or make us suspicious. Like there are a lot of different theories based on what I know of his character.
How tall is Jakob, incidentally? Like,
Little? Like, how tall is a halfling? Like 4.5 feet?
That's more like dwarf. Goblins and halflings are typically around the same height, and that usually averages out to about 3 feet.
Oh my god,
tiny.
cute.
3.5 feet. I think it's like 3 and 3.5 feet tall.
so between Gordon and myself, you definitely are going to be the kid that we swing between us.
Deidre, what'd you roll?
I got a success.
Deidre, you're listening to the incredulousness, the conversations, and you kind of go to your mind palace, as it were, for a second, kind of thinking about all of the things that you have, all of the interactions that you've had with Tylus. The old man, he just doesn't seem like the type that would be untrustworthy.
Right.
You're kind of poring over conversations you've had, little things that he said that now all of a sudden kind of stand out to you now that you've got some context. And you're listening to Jakob tell this version of the story, and you start getting the impression, you begin to realize and get a more clear idea. Tylus has always treated the Miststalkers like he's always behaved towards all of you like he's not doing, like he's a failing father figure, like he's not doing enough for all of you. And you're beginning to get a bit of a context with how he always seemed very worried about or frustrated with specifically Merrick. You remember the attitude he had when y'all left. What you get from all of it, essentially, is Tylus seemed very uncertain about Merrick, but was worried about him. You get the impression he probably didn't have anything concrete. You know he was worried.
He wasn't trying to endanger us. He was worried about the black sheep in his family.
Perhaps it would help if I told you that the manticore also kind of like roughed up Merrick.
So they had a disagreement, you think?
Well, the way I imagine it is the hooded figure. The hooded figure was the one in control of the manticore, and then the manticore did not like Merrick, but Merrick was still kind of strong, and then Merrick kind of like kicked the manticore, and the manticore saw me, and then the manticore tried to attack me, and Merrick was like, "No, don't attack Yakub, they are my friends," and Merrick did not say that at all. I'm just kind of imagining what I would have liked him to say, but what more or less happened was Merrick kicked me into a pit. But if anybody asks, I fell into the pit. Merrick did not kick me in there. I will sing these stories that I fell.
All right. Another question. This hooded figure, did you get any, like, look at his face or their face at all?
No,
The
but it was a
build?
very good hood. The build was average, but like average for an human or an elf. Not average for an halfling or a goblin. It was average, you use feet? Like 6 feet? I've never had to count feet above my own. Am I helping?
Taller than I am. 5'5".
If I had to guess, yes. But also it was standing next to a rather tall manticore, and that manticore is scary.
Did you happen to see did the necromancer, why am I saying necromancer? Did the hooded figure reach out a hand? Did you happen to see were they pale? Were they...
No visuals. Not about their face, but sometimes when people have that authority and they just kind of have that... Not even a hand waving, but I felt the directive and the power, I could say. So they were very commanding. That did not answer your question, but that was how I feel.
I think we need to get home.
Oh, should we not find Merrick? What if Merrick is hurt? He technically did save my life.
If he isn't hurt now, he might be when we find him.
So we look for him now, correct?
Yep.
Yes.
This is the best place to pick up his trail, but...
Gordon, you want to grab that head?
Ew.
The manticore?
Yeah, and you get the tail?
Ew.
I have to extract those. It's going to be delicate.
All
right.
Well, I mean, I'm just going to take the entire tail I chopped off and, throw it over my shoulder. It's only dripping now. It stopped spraying. Don't give me that look.
Gordon walks over and just with a big chunk, chops the head off.
Oh, yeah, it's going to take a couple of good chops. You're using a sword, and this is a big, thick armor. By the way, the armor rating on the manticore was 5. I was rolling 5 dice every time y'all hit it, and I was failing at every roll. So it, thankfully, though, being lit aflame and being dead, it doesn't take quite as long as you might normally expect it to. It takes a couple of good swings, Gordon, before you manage to get that blade all the way through the neck bone and dislodge the head from the body. It is still smoldering, and for those of you who can detect the scent of the manticore, it is a putrid, burning, horrific smell. Phaedry, the air is completely enveloping the inside of your nostrils. The sensations you're getting is a thick sort of it's not a wood burning sensation of being near a campfire. It's something a little more off-putting.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you've ever smelled burning hair, there's a lot of hair on this thing. It's gross. Do not recommend.
That a lot, so I haven't smelt a lot of burning.
What were you going to ask, Adri? You were going to...
Is the smell too much for you to pick up the trail, Gordon?
I think if I walk a ways towards where I smelled it before, I can.
Yeah, as a quick reminder, before we wrapped up the chapter 1 episode, you did ask me, did you smell Merrick here? Was his scent here? You did not detect it.
Right, but I smelled it further south of here, right?
But it was going in the direction away from the smell of the manticore.
Right. So, yeah, Gordon says, if I just walk back a little bit ways the way we came and away from this manticore smell, I could probably pick up Merrick's scent again. No problem.
All right.
That's a good idea.
All right, you have everything you need, Jakob. Did you want to like take some stuff from the manticore's lair? Does he have anything good? Hey, we should check that out.
It's true, you haven't checked the lair.
It did pee in there a few times.
You want to take that with you?
Smells bad.
I mean,
oh no! I'm just giving you a warning. That's why.
It's very kind of you.
Yeah.
Sylvain kind of reaches out and does like the mother-in-law along the mantle with the dust thing, but on Jakob.
That's gross.
That's decomposition, friend. I don't think you peeing is really going to overpower that one.
Oh, okay. Then my warning was for nothing. There's a lot of bones there, and some pelts. I always like pelts, but
let's check it out.
Yeah.
And let's just hope there's a river we can throw you in.
Oh,
somewhere.
that would be marvelous. Take off my bag and jump into the river. That would be so good.
Pot, meat kettle, decomposition, meat, venom, and blood. No, yes.
What?
Of course, she's particular.
I'm sorry. Were you saying something, Phaedry?
To you?
I thought I heard something.
I'm going to move on.
It sounded like complaining. And yeah, so Sylvain follows Phaedry, just still pestering.
As you're all approaching the mouth of this cave, the first thing that every one of you gets the impression of is this was probably some kind of sacred site sometime in the ancient times. Because what you begin to realize is remember if I described these big like dagger-like rocks jutting up out of the ground, you get the impression as you're getting closer that this is probably a formation of what must have been something like Stonehenges that were erected as like maybe as some kind of outdoor, maybe even a druidic circle of some time back in long ago, but has long since collapsed and crumbled and folded in onto itself. The cave itself, you begin to realize, is sort of a formation that took place, that this sort of huge opening underneath all of these great rocks that have fallen over itself, this manticore has just made it its lair. When you step into the darkness, there is that shaft of sunlight that gives you some view of what you're descending into. You can tell when you get about down halfway through the steep decline of this loose gravelly dirt. The cave is not that deep. It's probably large enough that this manticore could have slept comfortably down here, but that's it. It doesn't go that much farther. There are items down here. As you all move down here, you can see there are old corpses. There's a couple of items out here. I'm going to roll randomly to see what it is you all find in this lair.
66, another manticore.
We found the baby manticore. We are adopting it.
I was thinking that too. Monster Hunter's adopting a monster.
Okay.
It is demon spawn.
7.
We will recall.
You all
But
spend
look at the little
good
toes.
You all spend like a good 10-15 minutes kind of sifting through some of the bones. Some of the stuff is old, some of the stuff is a little newer, which is where the scent is coming from. This is the demon's lair, so the demon also used this place to relieve itself. There's all kinds of nasty scents down here. However, in the midst of the detritus, death, and stench, you do uncover a couple of items. The big one being is a large, rare gemstone. It looks like a sapphire, worth about 7 gold, which I just want to state for the record, in Forbidden Lands, that's a lot.
Okay.
1 gold could feed a family for a year. Easy.
Oh my goodness.
And have enough to put away to buy supplies for farming next season. 1 gold's a lot of money. 7 gold worth of that was a purely random roll. There is that. Let me roll 2 more times here. That looks like it is under the body of just a collection of ancient looking bones that may have been down here since before the manticore was here. Manticore may not even have known that was here, buried under the dirt and bones. The last one
don't spend money, so that's okay.
It's true. I mean, it is a demon. Who knows what kind of
Yeah.
currency it uses? Okay, so the next thing you find, okay, that's 4. So 7, 8, 9. So you'd find 10 copper coins. Oh boy! And fascinating. Really? Phaedra, you're the one that finds this. Sifting through the copper coins, the large gem, which has just kind of made everybody like, wow, we can buy upgrades. Like, that is going to be a very valuable find. However, Phaedra, you pull from underneath the bones a small little bronze statue. It's about this big. So it's quite humble in its size. Very articulately carved of a simple raven. It is worth, I'll give you the value here. It is worth 14 silver.
Worth
You
more
see
than
this little,
that.
judging from the condition of the metal itself, this thing has been down here for a long time. But yes, it's a very beautiful, small, intricately crafted bronze statue of Raven.
Well, that is ugly. Are you keeping it as a trinket?
Yes.
Ah, very nice. Could I
quick
have one
lore-
copper coin?
Yeah. Quick lore to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Raven, for those who are new to Forbidden Lands, the raven is a sacred animal, and one of the gods depicted that allowed humanity to travel over here and find refuge in this land. They were led to these shores by the god Raven, or a god in raven form. The religion is splintered off into all different versions of what actually happened, but Raven is one of the more revered aspects of the god that apparently saved humankind from utter destruction.
Nice. Okay, I still equate it to like finding like a little Jesus on the ground.
Yeah.
Sure, it's nice, I guess, but it's still a trinket. Unless you do
silver.
magic. Yes, and money.
Could get polished. Look nice on the shelf.
Oh, yes, above in the fireplace.
Book, like
A
oh
bookend?
god, not a bookend. Paperweight.
Oh,
It's
very important.
very possibly an ancient religious icon. Perhaps not a bookend.
It's not my religion.
Oh, right, because
That doesn't mean one antagonizes the local gods.
I mean, why not?
Did you find anything else?
And Sylvain, like, as soon as Adrian turns away, Sylvain's just grinning, and both Gordon and Jakob would be seeing this. It's not even trying to hide it at this point. I think they found. Well, we got the gem, we got the money, we got the statue. I found some old clothes, but I don't think they can be laundered.
And some bones. Really old
Lots of bones.
Some shiny bones and some less than shiny bones.
You could do some like scrimshaw with the bones if you wanted.
I'd like to take a look at the ancient bones, a closer look. See if
Okay.
there's anything to be looked at.
Oh, and I was interested in the recent bones.
I mean, when I say ancient, it looks like some of these have been down here for decades.
Did y'all kill like grandpa?
Looks like, I mean, some of these bones have reached that sort of almost nearing a fossilized kind of look to them. So some of them have probably been down here for a lot longer than decades. But there's a mix. From the looks of it, different kinfolk have found an unfortunate end here at the bottom of this cave.
Jakob
Now
wasn't
that-
alone. A fine tradition of falling into this pit.
I thought
Yeah.
the same thing when I saw the bones. It was
Now that
comforting.
Sylvain, oh sorry. Now that Sylvain is done antagonizing Thaydri, she will turn around and look at the walls to see if there's any indication on the walls of what this was a sacred site for.
I'm gonna leave that to fate and see if there's any significance to the interior of this site. So fascinatingly enough, as you're looking around, kind of glancing up at the ceiling of the interior of this collapsed stone structure that has now been made into a cave, Sylvain, you think you spot colorations along the ceilings of these fallen rocks that look like they may have been carvings and perhaps paintings, but with the darkness that is like cast about to the cave right now, you can't make out what it is you're looking at. But there is clearly some kind of addition to the surface of the stone over your head.
Thaydri, can you do the fire thing? Like fire in your hand, light the place up.
No.
No, oh, fine. I'm just saying, there's stuff on the ceiling.
And we have flint that we can use for that. Magic is too unstable.
And Sylvain has already taken the flint out. She's heard this lecture before, so she's getting the flint out to make a torch with some of the dead people clothes, because they would have lots of burnable fat on it.
Sure. Out of curiosity, do you also have flint or anything to ignite a flame down here?
I didn't know if that was something that comes automatically or not.
Nope, but there's somebody here who has specifically taken that to use. There is somebody in your party who has it.
Anybody got flint? Because I do not.
I have torches. I don't think I have flint.
It is not.
Oh no. Thaydri, do you have flint?
But you can't burn it.
It's the appropriate tool for the job. And I take it out of my components pouch.
You see a flint and slab of steel that they withdraw.
Fire has to come from somewhere when you do those magics. I lean over the clothes. So you need to keep something on you to start a spark. Spark.
I will make sure that she gets a whiff of whatever it is I've wrapped around this torch.
Who, Thaydri?
Mm-hmm. Because she's being snarky.
Sylvain, Thaydri, you see, you see, Sylvain kind of waves this in front of you a little bit. As Sylvain, you were trying to get them to sort of get a good whiff of what it is that's happening. Thaydri, having no sense of smell, you catch on that there's something that's happening here in front of you, and you just kind of stare at Sylvain.
I play my immunity idol.
In front of you.
Oh, no. Foiled. Okay. But yeah, once the torch gets
I'll
lit.
just enjoy the warmth.
Yeah. Yes,
Just
thank
brief
you. It was
moments.
cool down here.
And I will also take a look with Sylvain for an art history check.
Okay. Yeah, Sylvain, when you hold the flame up, Jakob, all of you, you get it. You can see now what Sylvain was looking at. You see strange depictions that look like odd geometric shapes drawn that appear to be drawn at certain. Maybe it's hexagonal. You're not sure as you're looking at it, trying to count the sides, 7 sides, as you begin to realize as it kind of arcs. And Thaydri, you begin to see little symbols and what looks like painted figurines that look like silhouettes. Could be from any kin from the looks of it. But these sculptures, these carvings that are overhead, they were clearly part of some kind of big stone slab that probably stood upright at one point that has since fallen in, and its weight has caused great cracking and breaking across from it. So you're having to use your imagination a little bit to put some of it together. Why don't you guys roll an insight check for me?
Heck yeah.
How do we feel about lore, out of curiosity?
You can do that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask the same thing. Let's do it.
Let's go.
I'm gonna push that roll.
Okay. So you'll take a point of damage to your wits if you roll Banes, not.
I'm also going to push the roll.
Okay.
Break yourself on an art history check, dude.
I got 2
success.
swords. Yeah, 2
You got a
swords.
success? Any Banes?
1.
So you'll take 1 point of damage to your wits, but You gain 1 willpower. 2 successes from Jakob.
2 0 banes.
0 banes. Okay, how'd you do, Thaydri?
2 successes. 3 banes.
Ah!
Oh,
So,
didn't you already
Adrian?
take a lot of to your wits last time?
We had a quarter since then. I was good, and hey, it powers the
Mhm.
sorcery, all right?
Okay.
Sure, you get 3 willpower. I'm gonna say, Thaydri, Sylvain is really getting under your skin. It's not so much that would technically be more like empathy damage, since this is wits. Sylvain's distraction of you is really starting to irritate the hell out of you. And it's making the stress of trying to figure out, first of all, obviously not knowing your history, obviously not knowing like the importance of the things that you are dealing with here.
She's acting like an absolute child.
But that's not what's really wearing at you for a second, is you're taking a deep breath. What's really wearing at you, Thaydri, and the others may not see it just yet, that was a lot of magic you just used. A lot of sorcery you unleashed. And at one point, it hurt you. Kind of makes that precipice feel a little closer. Is it all in your head? Hard to say, but you're distracted from that anxiety for a moment, though, as it starts to crystallize in your head, and you can see some of the other members of your party kind of coming across the same realization as you. That is definitely a heptagon. And the symbols on the heptagons at each corner look curiously like birds of some kind on each corner of the heptagon.
Like ravens? Like 7 ravens?
Perhaps like 7 ravens, yes. These strange silhouetted figures that are gathered around it look like they kneel around this heptagon. And you are starting with 2 successes. I'll give you this. And Jakob, how many did you get?
2, but no
You also got
banes.
2.
Mhm.
So Jakob, what is your lore skill out of curiosity, Jakob?
It's a 1.
It's a 1. So you've heard stories, and you've got
Mhm.
enough of an imagination that you can start kind of piecing things together. So it doesn't occur to you on the academic level the way it does Thaydri.
Mm-mm.
But you both come to the same relative conclusions here. You start to get the impression that there is some kind of reverence to this heptagonal shape that has been, looks like ritualistically carved with these bird symbols on each of the points that connect the corners of the heptagon. What's disturbing is beneath the heptagon are what look like images of flames and creatures within the flames. Much of that has been smeared away and shattered from the breakage. And that's what you see up there.
Ooh.
For those of you who didn't get the success or only got 1 success, you get a good impression of what you're looking at. The heptagon shapes, the bird and whatnot. But it's hard for your imagination to piece together the rest of it because of all of the cracks and the falls and the jutting out of the stone. You're not getting the full picture quite like everybody else.
So what are we looking at here? Gordon didn't even roll. Gordon doesn't have any wits or lore, so it's like whatever.
Gordon's like, yeah, that's a ceiling.
Oh, I see some stones and some birds.
Do you not see the flames and the monsters? Or
Rather, they are demons
I
inside.
thought those were feathers. Those aren't feathers.
If you squint, you can kind of piece together that brick, if you get rid of that crack, you can see the flames, and that is a demon. That demon probably has like 10 arms. Do you see it? And the connection of the heptagon and the ravens, although, yes, they could be ravens. Definitely.
I believe you. Let's just put it that way.
Okay, they have very good eyes.
Yeah.
Plus, it reminds me of stories I have heard on the road about, well, 7 ravens and some demons involved and potentially some flames.
So, wait, all the demons and the flames, we're talking like a sacrificial pit or something?
Looks down at Pitt. I am not certain.
Could be.
A lot of the time, the lore I hear comes from drunken people that are not exactly reliable. But you piece together all the things you kind of overlap, and flames and demons and seven ravens sounds familiar. Who is the smart one here? They look at Sylvain, and then he looks over at Thaedry. I have seen you. Your name is Thaedry?
C'est parfait. Ouais.
Ah, excellent. Do you see the same thing that I see?
Yes, I do see those things. That is a quizzically valid interpretation.
I try.
Sometimes one gets the essence. I suppose it's the story. I will exposit to my compatriots the lore that I understand.
Okay. Yeah, Thaedry
Which I'm
feels
sure
that.
is profoundly fascinating to Sylvain.
All right.
Now, is this information that we can use, or is it just I could write a song about it?
That is a way to use this information, but surely we would like to investigate who is in league with a demon.
Oh, yes.
And perhaps this information about where it made its lair can guide that search as we also find that son of a bitch Merrick, with whom we would like to have just a couple of words.
That sounds like a very good plan.
I don't know that there's any way to track the demon or the hooded figure beyond here, but if we find Merrick, I look to Gordon, I look to Sylvain. I'm sure Merrick could be persuaded to tell us more.
I'm sure he could.
Okay.
When we're all wrapped up here, we can follow the scent. I do have one more question, Jakob.
Yes.
You were here for a few days, and you saw the hooded figure.
7 to 20, maybe 15, but yes.
A lot of days. Were there any belongings that the hooded figure touched or left behind?
The manticore? Does that count?
Well, the manticore's burned, so I can't pick up a scent off that, so it's all right.
Okay, no, it's just some very good robes. Like, if you ever saw robes that were made of very good quality and you think, like, oh, if only I had 2 golds to buy the robes, because those robes could feed a family for 2 years.
Fancy robes. All right. Well, I'm ready to.
It'd be a high fiber diet, I imagine.
Yes. Thank you for considering it. We spent some time in the pit thinking about, like, how long would it take us to eat a robe? 2 years? Who knows?
Could you track off of the manticore's tracks? Those were distinctive.
Yeah.
I know it's not a scent, but it's a visual sign.
Yeah. Could do that. So between Merrick and the manticle's tracks.
We have 2 separate but possibly related leads.
And maybe I could look for this other figure's tracks.
Any sign. How low is the sun getting? Because there's that one sunbeam.
Oh, yeah.
Let's see. I would say I would say it's fall right now, so we're probably getting close to evening. It's late afternoon at this point.
So we should use daylight for that then.
All right.
Heaven knows nothing's going to come after us here.
Well, do we want to camp somewhere nearby so we can keep an eye on here to see if the hooded figure comes back for its manticore?
Yes,
Or if Merrick comes back.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Merrick never checked on me, but I could imagine that he's thought about me at least once.
Fondly?
I mean, he's kind of an asshole. I don't care if he thinks fondly. Before we camp or leave, I do have a question for Tadri. I do not understand exactly how magic works, but if you are ever broken or you ever feel like your attributes are just not as strong as they could be, just let me know, and I could play you a hymn, and that hymn will make you feel slightly better because, well, my music is very good. I'm the best goblin musician ever.
I just want to say, I've been running Forbidden Lands for over a year now across the spectrum of all the games that I've run. And this is the first time a player has ever picked up and played a character that has the ability to heal on the spot. Like, everybody plays this game on hard mode, and it blows my mind.
We've had mages.
It's true.
heal.
I'm just saying.
Not Tadesby.
I'm just saying. It's. I
See,
just
now you have me in little time.
when B was like, "I'm gonna play a minstrel that can heal," I was like, "Hallelujah!" The party survival rate just doubled.
Yes.
Yeah, Tadesby is not that kind of mage.
Right.
You seem like a murder and burn everything kind of a mage.
I'm glad you have an accurate assessment of me. Thank you.
Okay. Ready? What are we doing? Who is the leader? Sylvain? Deirdre? Gordon. Gordon, you have the nose to lead.
Well, I lead sometimes. Sometimes Adri does. Sometimes Sylvain does. We take turns. We're a team. You know, team effort.
Could I join the team? Is that like...
I don't see why not.
Oh.
What do you two think?
I don't have a problem with it.
Yeah. Plus, you could sing us some songs.
I could teach you some songs.
Oh, that would be amazing.
The look on Sylvain's face tells you that would not be amazing. They are very dirty.
Oh my goodness, yes. I am okay at combat. I shoot a bow and arrow from a long ways away because I do not like to fight.
Well,
I think the first order of this... Oh, go ahead. I'm so sorry, Thedry.
Thank you, dear. You have no traveling companions. It would be immoral, ungodly, to leave you out here on alone, where all manner of things prowl.
Wait, there's more?
Oh yeah, there was a blood mist we ran into.
Oh, okay. And like he moves in closer to Gordon.
Maybe once we've set up camp, we'll tell you about it.
Oh yes, I would like that very much.
I suppose we'll start. Thader will start to head out and look for a good place. Yeah, we're near tall grasses. So Gordon's idea to scope out a nice campsite.
In truth, with the exception of this burning corpse that is now, the fires have finally started to die down, the truth is the lair of the manticore has enough space out in front of this cave area, this clearing, that you could, if you wished, camp here quite easily as an option. If you do choose to look for another place, we can make a roll. Otherwise, if you want to move perhaps some other space in the hex, which will take you a quarter day, this is probably, you can elect to not use this as your campsite, but it's a roll at that point.
I mean, this place is easily defendable.
We are used to the smell now. Well,
barely smell it.
Oh, good. I mean, you are covered in...
That's probably why.
All of it.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, one entrance, as far as we know. And we can keep an eye on that pretty easy.
Very well.
Yeah.
In which case, no, I'm not going to call for a survival roll to set up camp, because you all have your campsite for the night. Instead, when we come back from break, we're going to be setting up watches for the evening. We'll need 2 people to take watch for the first quarter evening and the second quarter evening. And hopefully, Nothing will have smelled this dead creature and come looking to see what it is. Hopefully, this creature didn't have any friends to come see what's happened to it. We'll find out when we come back from break. Welcome back to sunset here in the Forbidden Lands. As the sun has begun to dip below the sky and night begins to fall, you all have managed to set up a campsite here just outside the lair of this dead manticore. As the campfire started, a new, much more pleasing crackling fire has been ignited underneath the stars as you all begin to bed down for the evening. At this point, I'm going to ask everybody, because I don't think we did it at the start of the day, and I would like to point out specifically that our goblin does not have to do this, Jakob, because you just had rations just a few hours ago.
I'm full.
But I'm going to ask everybody to make their rations roll. So you will roll whatever die you have on your food and your water.
We left juiced up, did we not? We were packed
Remind me,
out
because I wasn't sure if we did. If you did, we don't have to make this roll until tomorrow morning.
That is my recollection.
Okay.
This is our second day of travel, though, so I think it's still a rations roll.
You're right. Yeah.
I was muted.
Why don't we do this? Why don't we, in order to keep it clear and just like so that it's easier to keep track of, why don't we do this? Why don't we just go ahead and say that rations checks were made in the morning and we can do a rations check when after this evening is passed.
Okay.
So in which case, let's do this. Let's set up the watches. Now, keeping watch is a scouting check. Also, tipping its hat to the fact that this is fantasy, you only require a quarter day to sleep and be fully rested. I don't know what kind of madness that is, but welcome to
6 hours is roughly adequate sleep. Not ideal, but allowable.
So we're
Which
in
means-
college.
Yes. So there are going to be basically 2 watches, 2 quarter days before morning arrives. In other words, we need 2 people to volunteer who is going to keep a scouting watch in the evening to make sure that nothing happens upon you while you're all camped out here under the stars.
I am happy to start. I've spent most of my time napping in the pits.
Okay. In that case, go ahead and make a scouting check for me.
Oh dear.
That's with scouting.
I'm not good at scouting.
Excellent.
Let's roll. Ha! No successes, T-Banes.
You don't. So the good thing about the Banes is those do not hurt you unless you push the roll.
I will not.
So just no successes. So Jakob is, as Theodric, Gordon, and Sylvain eventually drift off to sleep. Some easier than others after the exertions of the day. You just kind of zone out, looking at the stars.
Plucking cords, not really paying attention.
Kind of thinking about the day. After about an hour or so at boredom, you begin to get a little bit of inspiration, thinking about perhaps a way to compose what happened for the day. For whatever reason, during your watch, whatever you end up doing, you kind of just don't really pay attention. Just kind of plucking the chords and looking around and drifting off to the sky. Situated about maybe 30 feet away from you is the blackened, burned husk of the dead, headless manticore, sure to attract predators and scavengers in at least the next day or so. But for now, I'm pleased to report that after rolling for the random encounters table, your watch passes uneventfully as you continue to pluck away at your stringed instrument. Which means, who is taking second watch? Who is Jakob waking up?
I will wake up because I want Gordon to be nice and rested to get a good smell
To get the sniffy sniff
of
going?
things.
Okay.
Yes.
The early morning hours before sunrise, Jakob moves past you and starts to curl up to get ready to go to sleep. In which case, Sylvain, as you situate yourself here, taking the next watch, go ahead and roll your scouting check for me. See how your watch goes. And I'm going to
So
roll
it's
dice.
wits plus scouting.
Mm-hmm.
Blah, 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 blah. Okay, sorry.
Oh, also, real quick, Sylvain, you need a quarter's day rest.
Mm-hmm.
And since you just had one,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to like this, y'all. You heal any damage you've taken. It's all completely healed.
Mm-hmm.
After a
Wow.
quarter day's rest, you just heal up.
Okay.
The only time you don't heal up is if you've taken critical injuries. That's when things get a little more complicated.
Or
Okay.
those conditions.
Yeah.
from earlier.
But the bruises, the scrapes, the cuts, those don't inhibit you any further. After you have a quarter day's rest, you can kind of sleep it off. So for those of you who have slept for the quarter day, so Jakob, you'll heal after this sleep.
Okay.
But I don't think you were in any particular danger
No.
anyway. But so go ahead and make that roll, Sylvain, and tell me what you got.
I'm going to push it.
All right.
2 successes, no banes.
Oh, nice. It's a beautiful evening. And about what would probably be the equivalent of about 3 a.m. is when the crickets, you can start hearing crickets off in the distance and the forest sounds. It only just occurred to you that since you've been here near the lair of the manticore, you've not actually heard the sounds of the woods until now. And indeed, almost underscoring the fact you have an eventless watch. Nothing happens throughout the course of the night. Nothing comes wandering into campsite, and nothing comes across all of you. And in fact, the woods surrounding this place sound like they've come back to life. Probably for the first time in some years since a manticore has made its home here. And the sun greets your party members as it begins to rise over the forest trees. Early morning, you get to see a beautiful sunrise here in Ravenland. You all awaken refreshed, healed up, and ready for the day's journey. Let's go ahead and make some rations and waters check. So everybody, now you roll your food and water. This, unfortunately, Jakob, now you need food.
Yeah.
Now you don't have to eat it this morning. You can try to. It's just whatever happens. You have to consume 1 unit of. You have to consume 1 water and 1 food a day. So if you don't have any food this morning, you can just eat it later. But,
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I will look pitifully at everybody, like, oh, if only I had some food. Too bad I don't. Oh, so sad. My tummy is rumbling.
All right. I'll pass off a unit. Remind me, did Tyler give us D10 or D12?
I believe he gave you D10.
10.
That is also what I had in my notes. Good.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, because then I found one, so I still have my D10.
Yes.
Even though I gave one away.
So I'll decrement to D8 to get a D6 over to. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So you gain. So Jakob, you gain 2 units of food then.
2, not 1.
Because Thadri went from D10 to D8 to D6.
Is that not because they had to eat some as well?
I haven't rolled it yet.
They haven't rolled yet, but they just gave you 2 units of rations.
goodness.
So you have a D8 ration now.
Yes, and I'm fine.
And Thadri has breakfast and is just fine. Doesn't lose any. So again, audience, for those of you who are watching at home in Forbidden Lands, when you consume water or food, you roll whatever die you have assigned to that. That's how much food and water you have. And so you don't have to go through the incredibly monotonous task of constantly tracking rations and water and how much it weighs and so on and so forth. It's a simple die roll. Sam had a D10, forked over 2 of those. Now Jakob has a D8. Sam has dropped down to a D6. Sam went ahead and rolled to see how much of the rations they're consumed. Nothing changes unless you roll a 1 or a 2. If you roll a 1 or a 2, your die drops down to the next level. If you roll anything higher than a 1 or a 2, your rations are still fine. You still have plenty of food and water left.
So Gordon rolled a 2 on food.
Okay, so your die
And
will
is-
drop down.
So now I have a D8 in food.
That's correct.
And then,
food goes to D8.
okay. And then Gordon also rolled a 7 on water.
Then your
So that
water
stays the
stays right
same.
where it is.
All right.
Yep, you still have D10 water.
I
Okay.
rolled a 7 and a 3, so
You're good too. Your water and your food ration. You guys basically have breakfast in the morning.
Yeah, I did a 3 and a 5, so we good.
Yep. All right, great. You guys are fine. You have conversations over some of the dried rations y'all are eating, some of the jerky that you're pulling apart. Having your water kicking out the campsite, the dirt over the campfire, smolders, comes to a close. You can see definitely that flies have started to gather in great swarms over the body of the manticore already as the sun has begun to rise and the temperature is starting to come up a little bit, even here in the fall. It's not late enough in the fall. The temperatures have dropped, but it's still enough. And you see that this place is going to become something of an activity spot in the next 48 hours.
Okay, who is the leader for the day?
Yeah, so let's switch to the map screen as we are getting ready to initiate our journey mechanic yet again. So currently, you are all positioned here at the lair of the manticore. These seafoam green circles are, I always specify seafoam green because it's my favorite color. These little green circles here are indicating all of the hexes that you have traveled. So you do not have to make checks to find out whether or not you have a mishap while you're traveling. You know that territory now. You know how to get through it. You can still have encounters, however. So lookouts are still going to be important. That being said, you now just got to let me know which direction you would like to move in. It's also worth bringing something up. You wanted to track Merrick by scent. Now, you had spent 1 willpower point to do that, to track him into the woods.
For 24 hours.
For 24 hours. So I'm going to rule that you have 1/4 day left to use that ability to find out which direction he's gone in before it runs out, before the 24-hour marker hits. So you can track him for the first 1/4 day, and then you're going to have to try to find a new tracking for him. I will also tell you this, because you're here, you brought it up. It is indeed going to be possible to track the movements of this manticore. The manticore is 12 feet long and weighed in at about 850 pounds. It's leaving footprints where it goes. So it'll be pretty possible to follow it. That's going to come down to rolls. So that being said, traveling through hexes are survival checks. And you need someone to lead the way, and you need someone to keep a lookout. So as we discuss that, first thing I want to do is find out which hex you're looking to move into. You are currently at the lair of the manticore. Would you like to move south?
Which quarry are we tracking? The manticore and Merrick are not directly allied, indirectly, Jakob indicated, through the hooded figure, but those are separate quarries with possibly separate paths, which is our priority, I admit. Mine is Merrick.
Yeah, mine is Merrick.
I just want to talk.
Or kick him into a pit and then do some talking.
If he doesn't have 2 broken legs yet, he might after I'm done talking to him.
Yes.
So Merrick is all of our priority. So sounds like I should probably pick up the scent again.
Well, you still have it for the first 1/4 day.
Due south, then?
Yeah, that's where it was last we tracked, I think, due south. But on the other edge of that hex.
He was this direction, in this hex, in this direction here.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Then that's where we're going.
Okay. You all decide to head south, deeper into the forest. This is the Arena Forest. This place is quite ancient. One of the oldest and largest forests here. It has multiple kinfolk that do live in this wood, but y'all are still traveling along the edges. So who knows what you might encounter. Best way to find out is to find out who is leading the way, who is guiding the group through these woods. That's a survival roll. So typically what you want to do is find somebody who has the best wit survival to lead the way here.
Daedry. Yes, if someone's willing to take up the scouting, I at least can guide us through the woods.
So there's a lookout that's kind of following the column of y'all stalking through the woods. So who wants to take the lookout?
I would love to, but I am terrible at that.
So that's scouting?
Yes.
All right. I mean, I don't have anything in scouting, but Gordon's busy. Daedry's busy. The bard is too short.
It's hard to see busy trees.
Let me ask this. By the way, just so that somebody doesn't have a wait a minute moment of like fear, I'm going off of the assumption, based on where you all went and how you proceeded towards the manticore lair, I'm going to proceed under the assumption that your horses have made their way back towards Seven Raven at this point.
We did not take them into the
You
woods.
did not
that I
take them
know.
into the woods. So I'm going to go ahead and rule that they do what trained riding horses do, and they went to find their way home.
Mm-hmm.
So they're finding their way back. So I'm going to go ahead and get that out of the way in case there were any questions about it later. I've got it here in my notes that they went ahead and wandered back, and I even rolled for them, but don't worry, they have plot armor. You guys are fine. So,
But they
y'all are
might
moving
find a
south.
great insulter or something along the way.
Yeah, God, I hope so. I can't wait. Let me ask who. Okay, so you're taking. So I'm sorry. Who's taking the scout? Who's keeping
I
watch?
just rolled lead the way.
Okay,
So I'm
And
doing
I
the
was like,
scouting one.
you're gonna do the scouting one. What did you roll for lead the way, Sam?
4 successes.
It doesn't get us anything. I don't get like what is even the point? What is the
I tell you what I'll do. Because you scored spectacularly on Lead the Way, and to not let such a spectacular success go to waste, I will take that into account when I make a roll on the encounters table. And I will add a bonus to that. Speaking of bonuses, let's get this out of the way too, because we didn't really get a chance. I was going to mention it during the fight, but the fight actually did not last long enough. You guys completely owned the hell out of that manticore, which is putting me in a position now where I have to give you all a heads up about it for the rest of the game. Just so you know, you have been given story points by the Streampunks for this game session. So go ahead and everyone keep track of this. Vance 1982 has donated their story point for this game session. So, as a reminder of how this works, for the rest of this game, anybody can call on that story point. You only get one, though, so the party's got to decide how to use it. But once you use it, what it allows you to do is roll a D10, which is an artifact die in this game.
Okay.
For any roll you want, and you can even spend it after you have rolled. So keep that in mind. The fates, as it were, kind of basically swaying to your favor, because somewhere out there is a legion of ghostly beings that are watching over all of you right now, and some of them want you to succeed. All right.
Thank you, Vance 1982.
Thank you.
So, as we proceed, let's go ahead and get that scouting check out of the way.
Oh, good.
So go ahead and roll, and I'm going to. You've got 4 successes, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to count each success as a -10 on the encounter roll.
Oh, I got 1 success on the
Okay,
scouting.
so you'll be able to see it coming, whatever it is. If it is anything. That's the good news. Whatever I roll. So I'm basically gonna drop it by factors of 3 here on the encounter roll. And
Kittens.
y'all are in the forest. Here we go.
It's groups of kittens.
Yeah, just a swarm of
Goodness, imagine Thaydri with a kitten.
blood-mist kittens.
Ridiculous nonsense.
You'd get like one of those naked cats.
Yep.
Sphinx.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
Goblin cat.
Yes. They are my people.
All right.
Oh, all of these characters fit as cats.
Marking this hex as you all have journeyed into it now. The first quarter day, moving through these trees. Again, it's all starting to occur to you that some of the sounds of the forest have come back. Stalking through these woods, it's not quite as thick. You can see here how it gets a little bit darker on the map. It means y'all on the edges of the trees here. The tree lines, the trees are spaced out enough that busting through the foliage and whatnot and looking for tracks is not quite as difficult as it normally would be. It's quite lovely. And you are all getting a good glimpse at what the wilds are like here in the Forbidden Lands. For many of you, this might actually be the first time you've traveled in a forest for longer than a few days. Considering the blood mist has enveloped this land for 300 years, it's only been 6 years, really, since the blood mist vanished. So it's still kind of a new experience to be able to look around and see nothing but beautiful ancient trees surrounding you. The greenery, the wildlife. This place has been largely untouched by civilization and has been allowed to just grow in its raw glory for 300 years. It's rock covered, like moss covered in all these ancient rocks and grand trees that stretch up towards the sky, and these great pines creaking in the small breeze as the fall begins to continue to set in, bringing cold winds through these lush forests. I'm happy to tell you that throughout the day, this first part of the day, you have no encounters. You don't encounter anything out of the unusual. And I will also say that, Gordon, you are doing quite the job at tracking the scent. Because you went ahead and spent that, I'm going to give you this much information, Gordon. About the time the scent starts becoming weaker and weaker, and your instinct is of like the direction of where Marek must have gone, as it begins to wear off, I'm going to have you make an insight or you can make either a survival or insight check here. I'll allow either one.
Survival.
Survival. Okay. Make your survival check and tell me what you get.
Okay, I have 3 wits, 1 survival.
So 4 dice.
1, 2, 3. 1 survival. Get away, D10. All right. Here we go. No successes, no bangs.
You can push that roll if you want.
I think I will.
Okay, push that
2
roll.
successes, no bangs.
Hey,
Nice. Okay. Wow. Nicely done. All right. So, in which case, Gordon, as you were all nearing the end, as morning has come to an end and the afternoon is setting in, the sun is starting to hang overhead in the sky just beyond the pine trees. You can all see some of the clouds have begun to roll in finally, typical of fall. Gordon, the scent begins to fade, and eventually you all watch as Gordon kind of is up front, standing on top of this large fallen log, looking around, sniffing the air. 2 things occur to you, Gordon. 1, you've lost the trail. You don't know which direction he's gone at this point. You've lost the scent. So you kind of just allow yourself, this has happened before, you kind of let yourself sit in it for a moment to try to think, okay, I have to rely on my instinct now of where I think he might be going. You get a look at the landscape. You get to look at the direction y'all have traveled. He may not have necessarily come through along this specific path, but certainly close to the area you were all walking in, because you smelled him through here, even after a day's travel. That keen nose of yours knows he came through here. It starts to occur to you that he probably was heading to the southeast, which leads you to think that he may have been leaving the forest, not heading deeper within. With 2 successes, you get kind of a direction of where the last known direction he was headed in. But from here, it's rolls to try to track him again. And keep in mind, the trail is going to be days old now.
Can I spend another willpower as well to activate my hunting senses?
You would need to get a new piece of evidence or something that he left behind.
Okay. All right. Well, okay. The good news is I lost the scent.
Oh.
The bad news is I can find it again.
Wait.
And yes, Gordon did just transpose those 2.
Okay.
Good job.
All
We're
right.
going to talk a little bit about linguistics.
What you mean? I'm really
later.
good with wordsmithing.
You are. You're excellent.
I have
Only
good
the best with
wordsing.
words. Mm.
My wordsing is top notch.
That's
Great
what they hired
wordsing.
you for.
I can just picture this like hulking wolfkin.
Yes.
This wolf creature just standing up there, kind of raising his chin in a very proud manner as he explains how good he is at words. All of you.
My mother taught me good words.
As excellent as Sylvan's, if not
Oh.
better.
That was
you.
good.
That's a compliment to you, Sylvain.
Then perhaps we should look through here, see if there's anything we can use to help pick up the trail again.
Yeah.
I
I mean,
have to wonder. I do not imagine there is a lot of place to travel. There are some manticore paths. There might be some goat trails, or not goats. What do you call the ones with the antlers?
Dear?
Deer trails. Could we not just pick a direction that we think is right and travel on some slightly worn paths?
yeah, so about that, so I think Merrick, I think, not based on the smell tracking, I think Merrick went southeast from here. But
Let's bring
yes,
up the
that's
map
good.
again.
Look back to Seven Raven.
Yeah,
I'm gonna bring up
yeah.
the map again and give you guys. Yeah,
That's
so
back
he,
towards the lake. It's back
Mhm.
towards home.
this would
Exactly.
be. It would be here that
Mhm.
you sense him going in this direction here.
But I
Oh.
do think it's a good idea to look for some manticore tracks while we're here. Just,
Yes.
before we leave this area.
Oh,
So-
I just realized I'm still carrying that giant tail over my shoulder too.
Yes,
it's
you're
not done.
seriously, and that too has gathered a fly or two that is starting to buzz around you.
I have taken like a bit of cloth that was on whatever ration I ate
Mhm.
and put it over the stump of the tail and like tied it off.
Okay.
Almost like putting your fruit in a bag so that you don't get flies.
You probably got another couple of days before you really have to start worrying about this thing.
Gordon could extract the venom glands, but no, it's better to bring a corpse tail with one, always.
Think
So
about
I
how
did-
cool it's going to look over the
Actually-
door.
I have to ask you, what did you do with the manticore head?
I think we're just carrying it with us.
Because that is
Gordon,
going
were
to be
you carrying
considered
it?
a heavy item. So whoever's carrying it has to mark
Oh,
down
Yeah,
2 spaces in their inventory.
I
Because
got
it
it.
is a large
He has the
head.
strength for it, though.
Is
And
Yeah.
is the
attack
tail
space.
heavy as well?
No, the tail's a medium item. It's just
Okay, so one
unwieldy.
space. Okay.
It's just unwieldy, but the head is large and heavy. It was a 12-foot long creature weighing in at 800 pounds. Had a pretty big head. It too is definitely starting to gather a fly or two. Aliza, out of curiosity, what is your strength? If I remember correctly, you are hulked out.
5.
5. So you can carry up to 10 item slots in your inventory. This is taking up 2. You're fine. This is
All
like,
right.
no problem.
I'm putting it in my inventory. Manticore head, type other, weight heavy.
Heavy.
Done.
Status gross.
Status gross.
Smelly.
Smelly, definitely.
Yeah. So what were we gonna do? I forgot. We just decided.
Y'all had theorized that you needed to head back towards Seven Raven.
Yes, and maybe just look for manticore tracks also.
If you want to engage in tracking for like start anew to try to hunt down anybody who's moved through this area, be it Merrick or manticore tracks, it's a quarter day's activity of basically hunting, and it's a survival check.
Mhm. So do we
So-
want to do that?
I think we do, because going through previously known territories, it'll only take us a quarter day to get back all the way back to Seven Raven from here.
Mm-hmm.
So we might as well
we
use the
don't-
time productively.
That's true. We also don't have our horses, so will it take us even longer than that without the horses?
No, knowing these areas, we should, and because it's outside of the forest, we'll be able to move 2 hexes per quarter.
Lovely.
It would have been 3 with the horses.
It's true. You're close enough to Seven Raven where you can actually take the time to stalk around the woods here a bit and see if you can pick up some kind of trail.
Yeah, I think we should do that.
All right,
Good
so here's what I'm
idea.
going to do. Whoever wants to make the survival check here, I'm going to assume that probably more than one of you is going to want to help in this endeavor, correct?
Ooh, I'm happy to help.
Okay, I ask because this has become the activity for the day. It's not necessarily like a hunting role per se, but it is at the same time. You're not all trying to hunt down an animal for food. You're just, everyone is looking for any signs of something having passed through here.
Okay.
So, in which case, I'm going to call this. This is probably going to be important to do too, because what I'm going to say is that for each person. So, what you're going to do, whoever you're going to elect to make this survival check, you're going to get a +1 die for everyone who is helping, but the maximum number of people that can help is 3. So you can get up to 3 dice if all of you decide to take this quarter day and really comb the hell out of this hex to try to find out if you can spot any sign of Merrick having journeyed through here.
Well,
that being said, I do want to give everyone a heads up, because the track is old and because y'all are in the forest. I am also going to give you an additional difficulty modifier. So it's going to need 2 successes to find any track of either a manticore or Merrick stalking through here. But you'll have +3 dice to the roll.
I believe Phaedry is very good with survival. Yes?
Kind of you to say.
Well, one gives credit where credit's due. You burn things and look for things to burn things.
You make me sound like an arsonist. Sound.
So Sylvain will help.
I'm helping.
Okay.
So it doesn't sound like it, but she is helping.
All right.
Gordon
so,
will help too.
Thank
Okay,
you.
that's 3. All right.
All right. 11
so-
dice, let's go.
That's 2. That's 2. Jakob, you're not helping, right? You're just kind of watching.
No, I'm super helping.
Jakob
I'm
said
so
help. Okay.
low to the ground. It's so easy to do things.
Nothing but low a
Um,
little.
Uh-huh.
All right. So then roll plus 3 dice. You need 2 successes.
I'm gonna push
Oh boy.
What?
on 11 dice. Welcome to the Forbidden Lands.
Welcome to Forbidden Lands.
That's pretty rough.
Yep.
It's not smooth. Oh, that's better. That's 2. That's both. We got what we needed.
Yes.
Any banes?
Yes, 2.
2 banes. You're gonna take 2 points of damage to
I'm
your
going
wits.
to take. Yes, it will. My wits will be frayed, but we have the 2 successes we needed for the 2 difficulty roll.
For this quarter day, you all spend a lot of time looking for any signs you can find of anything that's passed through here. You come across a few trails and some false alarms where it gets. I think I found something. Not what you were looking for. There's been a lot of like dead wood falling through here, kind of masking a lot of the soft muds that you were traveling over, making it difficult. You're having to like bend over and pick up a lot of the foliage and just look around to see if anybody stalked through here. But at one point, Phaedra, you do see sort of like this opened path that looks like it's gone, an area where the foliage just hasn't grown in. Instinctively thinking, path of least resistance, maybe somebody came through here. You branch away from everybody and take a few stepping over one of these rotting logs, watching a couple of beetles scatter out in alarm as you step down onto the mossy forest floor. And as you do, you immediately spot a booted footprint.
Over here.
Indeed, as you all approach, thanks to your efforts of everyone taking the time to be meticulous and scout this area, you do indeed find what looks like the trail leading off to the southeast towards Seven Raven.
Oh.
Confirmation of what Gordon was suspecting.
Sylvain will like touch her forehead and be like, I swear that if we went all this way just to find him at the bar.
Jakob, please roll me an insight check.
Ooh, okay. Roll. Absolutely a wash.
You can push it if you want.
I'll push
Otherwise,
it.
okay.
And it was still nothing. No
Still nothing,
veins,
okay.
nothing good.
You just kind of like,
I mean, you did come to save me, so this mission was nice. Thank you.
A success was had.
We destroyed a demon. It's no small thing.
Yeah,
I got a tail.
And the head? Look at that head, it's disgusting.
So gross.
Yeah.
You're gonna get paid for that.
Do you think we could use it to scare somebody?
Oh, I'm sure we could.
Hollow it out and then put it over your head.
What about Gim?
You want to scare Gim? I
It's
think
just
we
that-
should
that-
scare Tyler for
You know
sending
what?
us
You're
out here.
right. He knew when he sent. We should probably have a talk about that before we go
Yeah.
back.
Make a plan of how to confront him about this deception.
I'm gonna be honest. I'm fairly angry.
We don't have the whole story yet. Let's not be hasty.
But he could have at least told us that he sent Jakob.
Let's find out why
Instead-
he didn't. That gives us another piece of this puzzle.
Yeah.
When you go in that
Alright.
aggressively, people will just get into a defensive stance. Don't you know that from swords or something?
Speaking of defensive stance, Sylvain is, now pouting. She got told.
All right. We move.
All right.
We
So
move.
you're going to journey further down to the southeast. All I need somebody is to declare who it is that is keeping lookouts, and I'm going to roll in the encounters table to see if anything happens while y'all are traveling.
I could do lookout this time. That's is that scouting?
Yeah.
Scouting check. Nobody has to lead the way, though. This is territory you guys moved through. So this is by the end of the day, or actually by late afternoon, y'all are going to be arriving at Seven Raven.
I only have wits and no scouting, so if someone else wants to roll, have at it. But if no one else wants to,
Go.
I'm in the same boat there.
Mm-hmm.
okay. All right, I will roll my 3 wits. 1 success, no banes.
Okay. Luckily, nothing jumps out at y'all while you're traveling. As I roll on the encounter table yet again, it is actually a quiet day as you emerge from the tree line and see the plains out in front of you. As you're journeying through the hex for that quarter day, pushing further and further closer to Seven Raven, you start being able to see Seven Raven up ahead. You can see the city and whatnot. There's 2 things. Everyone here is going to. I'm going to ask specifically. I think who got 2 successes on the ceiling. That would be
It was
Phaedry and Jakob. Okay, so here's what I'm going to have y'all do. Phaedry and Jakob, go ahead and either you get to pick. You can make an insight or a lore check. As y'all are cresting one of the rolling hills and heading towards Seven Raven.
I will opt for lore.
Okay.
I am forlorn.
And normally it's not a good idea to ask players to roll this often for Forbidden Lands, but this is sort of one of those things where it could actually unlock some. Oh no, Sam.
I've already taken 2 banes. Is it the wisest course of action to
No.
further push this roll?
I
No.
would say
Am I going to do
don't.
it? Yes.
Are you going to do it?
I'm
Okay.
not a smart man.
Okay.
No.
Oh no, you took that. More willpower though.
And another bane. Oh, I'm capped out now.
Oh geez.
Nice.
I feel sorry for anybody who's on the receiving end of that magic, but damn. How'd you do? Yeah.
My first roll was poopy, so I rolled again, and I got 1 bane and 2 successes.
You'll take a point of damage to your wits, but you will notice, wow, the walls surrounding Seven Raven sure look like that geometric shape you saw in the ceiling of that rocky cave-in.
I think I'll pluck a chord and kind of point out to everybody. Oh, that reminds me of the hexagon. No, the hedragon. We cannot remember the words, but do you see the 7 points?
Or septagon.
Heptagon.
Heptagon?
Heptagon, yes.
Sylvain, you and Gordon
yes.
spot something altogether different while they're focused and kind of focused on Seven Raven itself. Both Gordon's nose and your eyesight have caught what look like a small trail of dark whips of black smoke emerging from the perch. You can see it even from this distance.
Don't like that. Don't like that at all.
Should
That
I do
smoke.
it or should I?
Coming from the perch.
Oh. Do you think that there will be fire and some demons? Because of the connection with the 7 heptagon and...
We need to find out.
You are asking no one, at least on my end, because my decision was run or not run, and run.
Oh, and wow, she is gone. Okay.
She's gone.
I'm gonna run after Sylvain.
Okay. The lot of you begin to push through. Again, you don't have to roll to lead the way, and the next hex is Seven Raven, so there's no point in scouting. When you all enter the walls of Seven Raven, you see a lot of activity in the streets. Now, Seven Raven, again, is home to quite a large sum of people, but they all seem to have noticed that something is happening at the perch, which just heightens the anxiety you all experience as you entered into the cobbled streets of Seven Raven. Citizens of all kinfolk are stepped out into the streets and pointing and looking off into the direction of that ancient keep that has overlooked Seven Raven for hundreds and hundreds of years. They know that to be the home base of the Miststalkers, small as it may be. There is a lot of shouting and people pointing in that direction. A few of the town guards kind of telling everyone to calm down. Townsfolk do spot all of you. You see a mixture of relief and shock and disdain on their face as you're all moving through the streets, as the people of Seven Ravens still don't know what to think about the Miststalkers, but certainly not happy of what looks like is happening to the north of their, rather to the south of their city, their town. You all dash through the streets, making your way down a few of the cornered blocks, pushing through a couple of the crowds that have gathered closer to the other edge of the southern part of the town, racing right past the stables, where you assume your horses have found their way back, right out the gate. And at this point, winded, you guys are starting to approach the bridge that leads you over the river that takes you into into the perch. From here, you can clearly see a column of black smoke that is gathering and pluming up from what looks like the courtyard area. You can also tell that the front gates, which were not very secure to begin with because the keep is in disrepair, to say the least, the front gates do seem to be open as you come charging in. About as time passes, you're all dashing up. Again, your legs are starting to burn from the exertion as you have pushed yourself with a sense of urgency, carrying you further and further along your path till you finally ascend the ramps hillside that takes you into the courtyard of the perch. And the moment you enter the gates, a sight that none of you will ever forget lay before you. Piles of wood that has been gathered, burning at the base of a large wooden stake, and a blackened form in the center of it that is engulfed in a massive flame. The doors to the entrance of the keep have been flung open. It doesn't take any kind of roll. All of you recognize the leathered armor on the body that is strapped to the stake that has been burning.
Does it?
Is that no?
Does the person that's burning have both legs?
No.
Gordon just howls in anguish.
Sylvain.
People from Seven Raven will tell the story of how they heard that howl.
Sylvain will throw aside the manticore tail and draw her sword and go charging into the main hall.
You burst into the main hall, and Sylvain, as you enter the main hall, you see signs of combat. You can see the great table that you all just had breakfast at just a day or so before has been completely overturned and is laying upside down. Chairs have been spilled over. You can see spatters of blood. You see a broken sword laying on the ground. You also see what looks like a spot where a body had fallen and blood had gathered. There's no corpse there, however. You also recognize, or I don't know how much you would recognize, but you see something drawn up on if you remember correctly, when I described the main hall, there's the center hall itself where the long table sits. Then there is a wall, and on both sides of the wall are the ramps that go up higher into the keep where the barracks are, where you all sleep. On the wall, where you were so used to seeing Tylus gather in the morning to cook everyone breakfast, there has been crudely smeared in blood a symbol. The symbol looks like two Ys. One of them looks like a Y that has been written correctly, but it is connected to an upside down Y, kind of forming this sort of branching off stalk, branching off. at the bottom of that Y is a chevron looking sort of like peak, and there are 2 dots in the middle of both of them. I can draw it out here on the map to actually give you a bit of an example.
Yeah, that'd be amazing.
Let me just test my scribbling skills.
I believe in you.
Or actually, let's pull the map down for a second, and I can do one better. I can pull up an actual entry here that will, see if I can give you an actual visual representation of what you're looking at. One sec. Are we still on the map?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So the map needs to come down so I can use the GM stuff without the player seeing. Yeah. Basically, what you see is you basically. I won't be able to pull it up here. Let me just draw. It looks like this.
It's giving me like Nordic symbol vibes, like those like.
Not really. It looks like
Okay.
this. One here, then there's another one here. Then it comes down to like this. Then there's like a chevron underneath it. It's kind of, I know this is crude. Then there's a chevron underneath it and a dot here. I'll just see if I can. There's a dot.
The one that was drawn in the wild was done with blood, so I'm sure that was crude as well.
Yeah.
So this is good.
So there's a dot on this side and then a dot on this side. And that's essentially what it looks like, this kind of crudely drawn symbol.
Is that rust symbology?
Yes. You don't even have to roll.
Flux.
You don't even have to roll. But it gets basically, yeah, sorry, you didn't get to see what I was drawing. But yes, it's basically 2 Ys. Looks very much, this is probably a better way of doing it. Very much. Yes, exactly,
Kelli.
Sylvain. Exactly. That's exactly what it looks like. Smeared in blood all over the wall.
I am helping. Yeah, so I mean, Sylvain will take all that in, but she is also scanning the hall for any movement or any sign of where the attackers went.
Okay. This is not one of this is one of those instances where it definitely wouldn't be a roll if you're looking for evidence. As you're scouting around and moving through, looking for evidence of the attackers, you see what looks like a pile of a rather unusual like pile of chairs and one of the fallen statues of armor that had been rusting and kind of left over the side has fallen over, and you can see what looks like the shape of something behind it. Something lurking underneath or behind one of these piles of chairs and whatnot. You can see a little bit of movement as you're stalking around.
Yeah, she is not thinking with rational thinking right now. So she is going to just walk directly over there and pull aside the armor.
Okay, sword drawn, you stalk over Sylvain. Reaching down, you grab the rusted set of armor, pull it aside. The moment you pull it back, you immediately see the startled and wounded form of Gim just go.
I would drop my sword and immediately just kneel down next to Gim. Gim.
You can see he's bloodied. You're not.
I scream for Jakob because Jakob I know can heal.
Yeah.
I run over, slipping only once in the blood before making it over.
You just dash into the room and go right onto your ass, and then just get back up and come dashing in.
Yes.
Yeah. Essentially, you run over. You see Gim. You don't think it's his blood.
Okay.
You don't see any wounds as you move over to him, but he looks horrified. You can see his hands are trembling a little bit. He's decked up in full clothing right now. He's clutching a knife in his left hand, and his knuckles have turned white as he's gripping it tightly. But he's got his hands up, and he just go.
It's us.
He has no wounds. It is all other blood and mental damage.
It's us.
Knife clatters to the ground, and grabbing at the first person who was close to them, Jakob, he just wraps his arms around you.
Hello. Could I move you to Sylvain? Just
kind of as you shuffle him over a little bit, he lets go and he takes a step back and he looks at all of you and just says,
Merrick.
He nods. Merrick came here. He came here he showed up with the Fellowship of Rust. They were behind him. There were 5 of them. He came in through the front gate. There was an argument. I could hear them shouting. I came to the ramp. I got here just in time to see them. He fought them off, killed 2 of them before Merrick finished him. They dragged him out into the courtyard and did that. He points off in the direction. His voice chokes.
Phaedry is by the pyre.
It's surreal.
I want all of it gone. I want the burning gone. May I use this fire as an ingredient to draw it out and cast it away?
Fascinating. I don't think I can say no to something so cool. Let me see how it wants to do that. I might just say that's a combustion spell. Manipulate the element of fire. You can make any non-living object suddenly burst into flame if you use the health against item, if used against clothes, armor, blah, blah, blah. Yes, essentially what I will do is if you want to cast combustion, you'll be able to use that rank 1 spell to draw forth that element right out of what's happening. Now, this is not something you'll normally be able to use to, say, put out a house fire or anything like that, but in this instance, Phaedry, you push yourself at what you know of magic and how to manipulate the flames. Go ahead and make a roll for me, a sorcery check.
Yes. All right, that always has to be base 2, half elven, hello.
But 1 willpower, obviously, because you don't need to ramp this if you don't want to.
No, and I'm minimum. Well, I'm minimum 1 willpower, and the half elven talent does, I think, make me do that for the purpose of mishaps. It's more power.
Does it? Oh, I thought
it's more power, more mishap. It's one of the reasons they have the secrets and fears they do.
Okay. All right, then good to know moving forward.
Flux and blood.
You rolled a mishap, didn't you?
I rolled an overcharge and a mishap, and my dice understood the assignment. And
oh boy,
what am I to say to that?
Oh boy, would you like me to roll?
Yes. I mean, no, but yes.
Did Gordon come into the hall with us, by the way?
Who's that?
Gordon. No, you're out with Phaedry. Okay.
Gordon is out in agonized howl erupted from Gordon's.
Gordon, and Gordon's outside doing stuff, which I can explain once we're ready to.
Okay.
Other stuff is happening right now. But yeah, Gordon's still outside.
I rolled a 25. You're going to take a point of damage to your agility, Phaedry, as you suffer a magical mishap. Essentially, in your emotional state, you lose a little bit of the focus and you feel your body drain of energy. It doesn't outright hurt, but it just feels like you've been trapped. I mean, again, the exhaustion of running all the way up here, everything, and now casting the magic, you can feel the exhaustion set in. As you pull that flame out, the flames go from a crackling into a column of fire that just pulls right off of the body. Even the stuff that was still ignited on the skin just gets ripped right away from him, and just like in a cloud, gets sailing up into the sky, again giving the people of Seven Raven things to say that they saw and heard coming from the perch that tragic day, as fire leaps up into the sky and evaporates into heat. And in that moment, that magical explosion, as the flame dissipates, it's enough of a boom and heat dissipation that it startles the birds nearby, and you all see a great flock of ravens take to the sky, just past the cresting fire that vanishes into the gray afternoon sky air, just cawing hundreds and hundreds of ravens.
I fall to my knees and crumple into Gordon. just worn and hurting.
It's enough, Gordon, that you're pulled from your agony for a second to realize the heavy form of Thaydri completely slumping into your chest.
Yeah, I will wrap my arms around Thaydri and just hug them and kind of scoop them up too.
We will just be in pain together a moment. I don't howl, but...
Inside, Gim collects himself as the three of you take stock of what's happened here. Gim is muttering something about the importance of Seven Raven and the Miststalkers. He wanted to kill all of us. I could hear him saying it over and over. He wanted to kill all of us. He was sad we were not all here. They were looking for me, but they didn't know I was close by. And I hid. I stayed hidden. I didn't even breathe.
Marek wanted to kill all of us? That could not be right. Marek kind of saved me while also hiding me.
I don't know. Something about Rust. I couldn't hear everything.
Gim, do the Rust Brotherhood? Oh, God.
At this point, Jakob, the thing I had you roll an insight check for earlier, it clicks as you remember the information that I'd said. You remember that Jakob suddenly remembers hearing the manticore inform Marek that if he did not follow through on his master's orders, the consequences that would happen to him. You remember that moment when you were being dragged back to the manticore's lair.
I do not think that Marek was acting of his own. There were consequences if he did not do as the manticore said. Gim, the robes. Have you ever seen the robes of the Rust Brotherhood? Are they very nice?
Yes, they wore chains. They were dark red, sort of ruddy red robes, and they had these rusted chains. They made terrible noises when they moved. They had locks and metal all over their bodies, and one of them was using sorcery. They used magic to light Tyler on fire. He just starts to choke at that point. They burned him out in the courtyard. I could hear him cursing at Marek. I could hear him screaming. I couldn't move.
Sorry.
I didn't know what to do.
You did what was right, right, Sylvain? You did the right thing. You have survived, and we will do something. We will find Marek. Do I know if the hooded figure I saw? Can I really kind of piece together if that individual was wearing chains?
Yeah.
And a red robe.
Yeah. When Gim starts describing this, you remember the deep, faded red, like old, worn, very unceremonial looking kind of rotted robes that this humanoid was wearing with these small little metal chains that had rust on them. It all just, you're like, oh yes. I mean, to be fair, you were mostly kind of focused on the fact that Marek was kneeling in front of this guy and that the manticore was standing a few feet away and wasn't killing both of them.
Mm-hmm. And Jakub realizes, like, oh, they were not wearing fancy robes. Sylvain, it was the Brotherhood of the Rust. It was them all along. They are holding Marek hostage, most likely. I have to believe that Marek is still good. I understand this is all awful, but
he murdered Tylus.
It was probably Tylus or his life. What would you do? Don't answer. I know you are probably a good person. I like self-preservation, but it is fine.
You couldn't have done anything, Gim.
Yes, Gim, you did great. Whew, I have a lot to think about.
Gim doesn't. Gim, you can see a gentle nod, but his at that point, He's quiet for a moment, and you think maybe he's going to be okay until you see his shoulders shaking. And he is inconsolably sobbing quietly to himself in front of you all. The hall is quiet. And you notice that the fires outside have stopped. Of course, you've heard the calling of the ravens. And at this point, through the grand doorways of the ancient keep, you can see that black cloud of ravens gathering over the town. Though it doesn't seem like it heralds a dark sign to you.
Does it feel a little comforting in a way?
I don't know how spiritual you are, Jakob.
Not me. I love a good story, though.
We'll say that Phaedry, in particular, gets the sense that you were not the only ones that saw this today. And as you lean into Gordon's chest, unable to bring your eyes back to the form still unceremoniously just left up there on the stake, Sylvain and Jakob emerge with Gim, and you who remain of now a failing order of Miststalkers gather before their fallen leader, bringing a close to this chapter.
Heck. That's the summary of the whole episode. Heck.
It doesn't count as a cliffhanger. If you fell off the gosh darn cliff and hit the bottom real bad.
Oh, dear.
I'm going to go ahead and do this on screen so that everyone can see, because we have a few more minutes, and I want to use this as an opportunity because everyone did so fucking good today. There were so many great role-playing moments, great choices. Y'all were taking initiative, antagonizing the crap out of each other, but still taking care of each other as players. I loved it, so I'm going to go ahead and dole out XP. You get 1 XP for being in the game, which is nice. You did travel through at least 1 hex, so you get 2 XP. You did discover a new adventure site. That would be the Manticore Lair, so that's 3 XP. You did, in fact, defeat more than one. You defeated a big monster, so you're going to get another XP for a total of 4. And you found a treasure that was worth 1 gold piece or more. You get a 5th XP. Y'all had a good game for that. You didn't build a function for your stronghold. Indeed, unfortunately, that didn't come into play here. Nobody activated their pride this time around. You also didn't spin the story point that Vance had given you, so you get that to carry over for the next session. So make sure to mark that down. Nobody here had to risk their life for another PC, thankfully, though that might have happened if the Manticore battle had gone 1 round longer. And for good role play and support for the players and just general awesomeness, gain the additional final XP. Y'all had a juicy session. And I'm going to go ahead and tell you now, I will allow you to spend that XP to advance your characters before the next session.
Okay.
So if
was
you want
that
to get
6 total or 5?
I believe that was 6. Is that correct? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I think that.
The Miststalkers are in tatters right now. They are without their leader, the person that assembled you all to begin with and had a vision of creating an order of monster hunters to help save this realm from all of the demons that were wandering around out there. And what's worse is apparently the Brotherhood or the Fellowship of Rust, a fanatical, evil religious order that believes in an alternative narrative to the God Raven, apparently has targeted the Miststalkers. You have been betrayed. And that is where we leave tonight's game session. Thank you, everybody, for joining us for this chapter of 7 Raven. Join us again for chapter 3 next Monday night. Until then, Raven, watch over you.